All right, what's going on, you guys? Today we are talking about the DJI NEO, new from DJI, released this morning, September 5th. I think at like 8 a.m. it became available on DJI's website. This is a 135 gram first-person view capable drone that pretty much fits in your pocket, and I think this is going to be an awesome addition to a lot of people's drone inventories. I just bought this drone, so I'm super excited to learn how to use it and use it as much as I possibly can, because that's just, something I find fun to do, is fly my drones as much as possible. So that's what I'm going to be looking at doing with my DJI NEO that I just bought this morning. Today in this video, we're going to be going over the key features and the confirmed specs for this drone. Prior to its release, there was a lot of speculation of, will it be this? Will it have 60 FPS capability? Will it be able to be controlled this way? And now that it's released, a lot of these specs have been confirmed, so we're going to be talking about those specs and the key features and whether or not you should buy one for yourself. So stick around in this video to learn all there is to know about the DJI NEO. All right, the first feature that we're going to be discussing, which I think is a lot of people's favorite, is this drone's price point. The DJI NEO can be bought for $199 plus tax, which is DJI's cheapest drone to date. And that's honestly insane for a drone with 4K capabilities like the NEO has. The NEO is capable of shooting up to 4K at 30 FPS. And for you to be able to buy that drone for under $200 is insane. Now that is just for the drone, and that is the one that I bought. I just bought the drone, and we'll go into later how this drone is controlled and flown. But just to quickly touch on it, you can buy just the drone itself and control it on the DJI Fly app from your smartphone. So the smartphone will have joysticks and be able to fly from there, or it can be flown with motion and voice activation. So you can buy this drone without a controller for $199, which I think is the most amazing thing about this drone, is its affordability for 4K capabilities. All right, the next key feature we're going to talk about is the camera quality available on the DJI NEO. For video, you're going to be able to shoot up to 4K at 30 FPS. There is some internal stabilization available on this drone. Let me check here. Rocksteady or horizon balancing you'll be able to use on the drone, or you can stabilize your footage after using gyroflow. The gimbal on this drone, and I believe the Avata and Avata 2 are the same way, but I'm not sure on that. The gimbal on this drone is single axis. So let's take a Mini 4 or Mini 3, for example, Mini 4 Pro, Mini 3, whatever. You have a 3-axis gimbal, and on this DJI NEO, you're only going to have a single axis gimbal, up and down adjustments only. So you will have to likely stabilize your video in post for it to turn out the way you want. But in general, this camera is going to be great for what it's for. 12 megapixel camera for photos, JPEG only. I know a lot of people, at least from what I've seen, are disappointed in the lack of 4K at 60 FPS capabilities. They think that, okay, 4K at 60 FPS is pretty much needed for professional application, and I agree, but the NEO is not necessarily going to be something that people are using for cinematic productions. This is a drone that's going to be huge for on the go, slip it in your pocket and make videos for social media and just cool little clips. So this drone is going to be perfect for that with its camera capabilities up to 4K at 30 FPS. All right, the next key feature we're going to talk about is the controllability of this drone, how you're going to actually fly it, and there are many different options. We'll start with controller free. This drone can be bought on its own. Like I said, that's what I did, and can be flown without a controller at all. This will be done using the vision positioning system on the drone, it's called, or you can do voice controls, and there's little quick shot modes buttons on the back of the drone that you can press to use to fly the drone without the use of a controller at all, just your voice and your hand motions and whatever shot feature you choose. The second most simple way that this drone can be flown is with the smartphone that you already have. So using the DJI Fly app, you would connect the drone just like usual, and then the controller would give you camera feed and also joystick drone controlling capabilities. And DJI claims that the camera feed will be able to be transmitted about 100 feet between the drone and your smartphone. So you won't have a lot of range to be able to transmit that video quality, but if you're doing close-up shots, you'll be able to see exactly what the drone's seeing on your smartphone. The next capability that this drone has, controllability-wise, is using the standard remote controller. So It's like $200 with the if you want to buy it with the drone, but just standard joystick control with the controller. So you'll be able to use the 04 transmission system or operating system, which is the latest from DJI. So I'm sure the control will be great there. Then you can go ahead and use your DJI goggles and the controller in one to be able to see first person view from the drone. Using the goggles. And this drone will be compatible with the latest goggle model from DJI, I believe the Goggles 2. And then lastly, you can use, again, sorry, that last option I said, still obviously utilizing the newest transmission system, the 04 transmission system from DJI. And then the last the last controlling mode available is using the motion control controller with the goggles to have a true FPV drone piloting experience. So lots of different controlling options for this drone. Personally, for me, what was most enticing was the no controller and the smartphone, because then I just get to buy the drone and I can use it from there. But for those of you guys that maybe already have the Avata or Avata 2 and you already have the goggles and the motion controller, you don't have to buy any new controllers. Just buy this drone and you can integrate it right into the equipment you already have. So I think controlling this drone, the options that it has for doing so are amazing. All right, next let's talk about the audio capabilities of this drone. As I mentioned earlier, this drone has the ability to be voice controlled, which means it has to have an onboard microphone, and that's a super cool feature that this thing has. The voice control on its own is a super cool feature, but using the DJI Fly app, so if you're flying this drone with your smartphone, you will be able to record audio using this drone, so it can capture audio as you're doing whatever you're filming, which I think is a pretty unique feature for drones, because any drone that I've ever flown, Mini 3, Mavic Air 2, Mini 4 Pro, they don't record audio. So I think that's a really unique feature, and I think it would really, really up the game for social media and similar content creation. All right, one more key feature I want to discuss before we move on and talk about some of the downsides of this drone, and that is flight time. I believe this drone is spec'd at about having 18 minutes of flight time on a full charge, so that's pretty solid, about the same as the Avatas and Avata 2 are spec'd at. So you're not going to get any insane flight times, but that should be enough to get the shots that you need. And then of course you can buy extra batteries, and I think the triple charger and the Fly More kit for this drone, actually they just call it the NEO combo, they don't call it Fly More, and it's just the drone and 3 batteries. Obviously you get that 18 minutes per battery, and the whole thing is spec'd at recharging all 3 of those batteries in about an hour. So 18 minutes flight time per battery, and pretty quick charging with this drone. All right, I want to spend a little time talking about some things about the DJI NEO that aren't super exciting. The first one I want to start with is initially going to sound awesome, and that is that this drone has DJI Easy ACRO capabilities, so you can do 180 drifts, flips, and rolls with the touch of a button. But the downside is, and this idea shows up a couple times with this drone's features, is that you need to have the motion controller or at least a controller for some of these features, but for Easy ACRO specifically, you need the motion controller to execute them. So if you're like me and you bought the drone to do visual or motion controlled flights with no controller or with your smartphone, you will not have access to these Easy ACRO features, which is kind of frustrating, because you have the drone, you have the device, but you don't have the controlling capabilities. But of course, that's why you can get it for less than $200, is because you can get the starter kit, essentially the easy mode, and then you can upgrade to the other mode. So the first really downside is that the Easy ACRO features are only accessible if you buy the motion controller. The next downside I wanted to discuss is right along the same lines, is this drone, like many other, or pretty much all other DJI drones, is you have cinematic mode, normal mode, and sport mode. But these, of course, are only accessible if you have the DJI controller. Now, I think this one would work with just the standard controller. You can select the flight modes, but if you're flying by voice, visual, or smartphone, you will not have the ability to switch between these 3 flight modes. And another downside, I mentioned this one earlier, and it's not a huge deal for me, and it's probably not going to be a huge deal for most people unless you're somehow or for some reason trying to use this drone for cinematic applications, but no 60 frames per second capabilities on this drone, and only JPEG photos available. But I don't think that's going to be really that big of a deal. And just overall, I kind of touched on this a minute ago, but it's meant to be, I think, a drone that you add to your set of drones you already have. your inventory. That's the word I'm looking for. Add to your inventory. If you already have the Avata or something and you already have your motion controller or goggles, this is a perfect drone to add to it. But if you're looking to get those capabilities, this isn't a great drone, because you have to buy the drone and then you have to add the controller and add to the goggles, and all of a sudden now you're $700 into it or $500 into it, and now you could have got an Avata 1 used for around that price. So the features add up quickly if you want to buy the controllers, but for the basics of what it is, I think this drone is going to be a fantastic deal, and I'm excited, really excited to get to use it. All right, you guys, now to answer the question, and that is, should you buy this drone, the DJI NEO, for yourself? Now that we know what I've gone over in this video, the camera qualities, how to control it, kind of the downsides, and a lot of the cool features this thing has, should you buy this drone for yourself? I'm going to say absolutely yes. I think that it's pretty incredible to be able to get a drone with these features and 4K capable video for under $200, and I just think it'll be a great way to get really creative shots. Now, if you are completely new to drone flying, this is definitely a great option, but you know, there is also other drones that aren't geared towards first-person view flight that you might want to consider. But even as a beginner drone, I think this is going to be perfect, because that's where the price point is and the features are very, very user-friendly. So it can go either way as far as should this be the first drone you buy. But really the only people that I don't think that this drone will be useful to is those that are trying to get cinematic, professional quality footage. So all in all, that's what I know about the DJI NEO. Super excited to use mine when I finally get it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned a lot. Please drop some comments down below to tell me what you thought about the video. Subscribe for more content if that's something you would like to do. And hope you guys get yourself the DJI NEO, because I think this drone is going to be awesome. Guys, thanks for watching.